Hi everyone, Mark Savage here, and welcome back. In this video, I want to talk to you a little bit about selfishness. Now, a lot of people don't understand what I mean when I talk about selfishness. So before I dig into selfishness specifically, I want to read to you a quote from Abraham Hicks, and then I'll explain to you about selfishness, and I'll wrap it all up, okay? So here's the quote. "My most important relationship is with my source. There is no relationship of greater importance to achieve than the relationship between you and your physical body, right here and now, and the soul, source, God, from which you have come. If you tend to that relationship first and foremost, you will then, and only then, have the stable footing to proceed into other relationships. Your relationship with your own body, your relationship with money, your relationship with your parents, children, grandchildren, the people you work with, your government, your world, will all fall swiftly and easily into alignment once you tend to this fundamental primary relationship first." Okay, so what are they talking about here? So basically, we have our physical bodies, right? And then we have our inner being, soul, source, God. People call it a lot of different things, higher self, all different terms for the term that is source. But the idea is that we are connected to source. And I've spoken about this in previous videos, and we all have everything in every body vibrates. There's a vibrational, I don't know the word, I can't find the word I'm looking for, but there's a vibration coming from everyone and everything, whether you could see it or not. And so the idea is you want to make sure that your vibration is very high. The higher your vibration is, the more in alignment you are with soul, source, inner being, God, etc. For the rest of this video, I'm going to talk about this being just source energy. But again, remember, source energy can be source, soul, God, inner being, higher self. There's a lot of terms for it, okay? So the idea here is that source vibrates at a very, very high frequency. Now, I've talked about the emotional scale. I'll try to remember to post it in the comments below. But the idea is that your inner being is at the top, the tippy top of the emotional scale. In other words, your inner being is in love, knowledge, joy. I don't have the emotional scale in front of me, so I don't remember all the emotions that go there. But that's where source is. That's where they are. So if you want to be connected to source, you need to get your vibration up there. So what do I mean by selfishness? Okay, so if you remember what the quote from Abraham Hicks said, "My most important relationship is with my source. There's no relationship of greater importance to achieve than the relationship between you and your physical body, right here and now, and the soul, source, God, from which you have come." Okay, I repeated it. So here's the idea to understand. Abraham Hicks teaches selfishness in this respect. Most of society, religions, people you know, feel that you should consider what others think more than you should consider about how you feel. In other words, it's not important whether or not I feel good. It's only important how you feel. So something that would make me feel good, I shouldn't do that if it might make you feel bad. And that's the thinking here, right? So we focus our attention, we focus our emotions in such a way to make everybody else happy, to make everybody else feel good. Now, here's the funny thing about selfishness, right? So if you do something for yourself that feels good to you, that somebody doesn't like, they might say, you know what? You're selfish. But what are they really saying? What are they really saying? What they're saying is you should not be selfish and do for yourself what you want to do. You should be unselfish so that you should do the things that I want you to do for me. So who's being selfish? The person telling you this. We're all selfishly focused. We can't focus from another person's perspective. I can't focus from your perspective. I can't focus from Logan, my son's perspective. I can't focus from Bella's perspective. I can only focus from my perspective. So The idea that you would ever allow somebody else to dictate your feelings, to dictate what you should or shouldn't do based on their feelings is a huge, huge, huge mistake. So when I talk about me being selfish, the thing you need to understand is what is most important to me. The first and foremost, most important thing to me is how I feel. Nothing else matters. It doesn't matter how anybody else feels until I feel good. And here's the thing to understand. You can't give somebody love when you feel angry. You can't give somebody joy when you feel angry. Now, a lot of people will tell you, well, but you know, as a parent, I yell at my child and I still love my child. Yes, I'm not disputing that you love your child. But in the moment that you are yelling, in the moment that you're angry with your child, you are not in a loving vibration with your child. And, you know, I had this conversation with somebody a while ago, and he tried to argue with me that, you know, I love my child no matter what. And even if I'm upset with them and I'm yelling at them and I'm punishing them, I still love them. And my response to him was simple. Ask your child how they think you feel about them in that moment. And ask them if they feel like you love them. And he stopped. He got it. He completely got it. Because you can't be yelling at somebody in anger and frustration or whatever and have that person say, oh, wow, you love me. Thank God. That feels so good. It doesn't. It doesn't feel good, right? So you can only love another person when you're in a state of love yourself. You can only feel joy toward another person when you enjoy yourself. You can't be angry, sad, fearful, and feel love and feel joy. They don't fit. They're two completely different vibrations. So the most important thing is for you to do what feels best to and for you. Not what feels best for me, not what I want you to do, not what the rest of the world wants you to do, not what your parents, your children, the government, your boss, your spouse, I don't care who it is. It doesn't matter what they want per se. I want to be clear. I'm not saying be selfish and don't care about anybody. And I'm not saying that, you know, if it feels good to you to help somebody that you shouldn't because you want to be selfish. That's not correct. You do what feels good for you. You focus on your emotional state first. If you feel good, you have something to offer. If you feel bad, you have nothing to offer. Let me rephrase that. If you feel good, you have good feelings to offer. If you feel bad, you have bad feelings to offer. You can't feel bad and show somebody that you love them. It doesn't work. Okay? So the idea is, if you want to be happy and live a happy life, you need to focus on you first and foremost. And again, I'm talking about your emotion and how you feel. Because here's the thing, right? A lot of people feel very good helping others. It really makes them feel good. And that's fine. I'm not saying don't help people. It's good to help people if it feels good. And so when they do help people, it feels good to them to do it. All good. But if somebody were to say to you, as an example, go help that person, you know, I don't want to. Doesn't feel good. I don't feel. I am much more interested in doing something else, or that doesn't feel good to me. I don't like doing those sorts of things. Well, whatever the thing is, right? Well, now you're being selfish, right? You're being selfish because you should be helping that person regardless of how you feel. Well, I disagree. Abraham Hicks disagrees. There are other people that would disagree. Again, your focus is on how you feel first. Think about if you've ever flown on a plane before. You fly on the plane, and every time before they take off, they do their, I forget what it's called, the drill of what happens if you crash. Well, first of all, what happens if you crash? You die. Good luck with everything else. Having said that, the plane goes down, and the air masks, the oxygen masks drop. What do they tell you? Did they say, tend to everybody else? Make sure you put the mask on your child and your mother and your father and your sister and your brother, and then if you're still alive, put it on yourself. They don't say that. They say, before you do anything, put the mask on yourself. And from there, help others. Because here's the thing. If you try to put the mask on your child and you pass out and die, your child doesn't get the mask, you don't get the mask, and nobody comes out ahead. But if you take care of yourself first, you have something to offer others. You can't offer others from a state of lack, right? So you can't using the airplane example, if you're past that unconscious from lack of oxygen, you can't help your child by putting the mask on them. You're unconscious. It's the same thing here. If you're not feeling good, if the idea of doing something doesn't feel good, then you shouldn't. And it doesn't matter what the other person wants or doesn't want, because the bottom line is the most important relationship is with your source, with your inner being. And the only way you have a relationship with your source or inner being is if you feel good. If you don't feel good, if you feel sad, fearful, angry, it's not that you don't have a relationship anymore, but the communication from that relationship is lost on you. Your inner being hears you. Doesn't matter. Inner being always hears you. You're happy, you're unhappy, alive, dead, none of that matters. Your inner being always hears you. On the other hand, if you're angry, right? Remember the scale. Anger, love. Here's your inner being up here in love, right? So if your inner being's up here in love and communicating with you, you can't hear it down here because you're not even remotely close in vibration to your inner being, right? It would be like, imagine, I live in Florida and my sister lives in Connecticut and I want to talk to my sister. So I'm going to just scream from the top of my lungs, "Hey, Tracy!" She's not going to hear me. She's too far away. Vibrationally speaking, we're too far apart. But if I pick up the phone and give her a ring, well, she could hear me over the phone. Right? It's the same concept. I use the phone to connect with my sister. You use good feeling emotions to connect with source. And so the way I live my life today is I don't concern myself with others. I don't concern myself with the way others feel, if they're happy, if they're unhappy. Don't get me wrong. I want everybody to be happy. I want everybody to feel good. I want everybody to be happy. But that's not my responsibility. Your happiness, Logan, my son's happiness, has nothing to do with me. Only you can control your happiness. I have nothing to do with your happiness. Can I be involved in your happiness? Sure. If, for example, Logan as an example, maybe he wanted to go on, Logan wanted to go away for a little vacation for his birthday. And so he asked me, and I thought it was a good idea, and I liked the idea, and so I was able to take him away on vacation, right? That felt good to me. It felt great to me. And he felt good when he asked me. He didn't come to me, "Oh, Daddy, I never had a vacation." That's what happened, right? Because if that's what happened, he wouldn't have gone on vacation. You can't attract the things that you want from a feeling of negative emotion. So again, I want to kind of repeat this idea of selfishness so that we're clear. Selfishness, from my perspective, the way I talk about selfishness is you, me, my emotions come first. My feeling comes first. If I don't feel good, then I need to do something to resolve that and make myself feel better. I'm not going to engage with you if I'm not feeling good, if I can avoid it, because the likelihood is if I engage with you when I'm not feeling good, our interaction will not be a good interaction. I can tell you, over the last 3 to 4 years, as I've been practicing, this way of living, all this is true. All this has panned out to be true. All this has shown itself to be true. I'm living the best life I've ever lived. I mean, it's amazing how happy and how easy my life has been since starting using these teachings of Abraham. So again, be selfish. I'm not saying be selfish as into don't do anything for anybody. Only think of yourself in every aspect of everything and ignore everybody out there. That's not what I'm saying. That's not the kind of selfishness I'm talking about. I'm strictly talking about the way you feel. The first most important thing is to remember and be aware of how you feel. And if you're not feeling good, you shouldn't be involved with others and trying to do things for others. Because if you're trying to do something for somebody else when you're not feeling good, it's not going to come out good. I mean, yeah, somebody may ask you to drive them to the supermarket, and you drive them to the supermarket, and everybody they go to the supermarket, they get their stuff, they come home, everything's fine. But you had a miserable time because you were miserable the whole time on that trip because you didn't want to go. And so your experience was terrible. Their experience can be fine because they were happy, they asked you to take them, you said okay, everything worked out for them, they're tickled pink and everything worked out for them, but it won't work out for you because you're all bent out of shape. So let me give you one more quick a story aside so you can understand, and then I'll let you go. So a year or 2 years ago, I had been talking with my sister, and she'd gotten started down a path of being upset about this whole COVID thing and all the having to wear masks and all that stuff. And unfortunately, I'm not the best communicator in the world, and I take to heart the idea of being selfish and only focusing on the way I feel and making sure that I feel good first. And so I tried to kind of stop her and redirect her. And again, I don't do a good job of these things, and so I did it very poorly, to which she got all bent out of shape. She was really upset. She felt I didn't care about her, all this stuff. I turned around, we hung up. A day or two later, maybe even the same day, I texted her trying to explain to her, listen, it's very hard for me to listen to you talk about things that bother you and not be negatively affected by it. You can't focus on something that doesn't feel good and feel good. It doesn't work that way. So my sister, who's one of the closest people in the world to me, if she's not feeling good emotionally, it's very hard for me to stay feeling good emotionally and engage with her about it, because I love her. I don't want her to feel bad. It's very hard for me to just say, whatever, I don't care. Okay? She didn't quite get that. And I don't expect everybody to understand this. She wanted me to be able to listen to her vent, listen to her complain, focus on negative things, and just hear her out so she could vent it out. And there are two things here. One, I don't believe in that in any way, shape, or form. I don't believe in venting. I don't believe in talking about anything that doesn't feel good. If it doesn't feel good, don't talk about it. Now, I'm not saying that you're always going to feel good. I'm not saying that there aren't experiences you're going to have that you won't feel good. But you don't have to converse about it. You don't have to talk all about it, because by talking about it, all you're doing is keeping that negative feeling vibration active. In addition, if you're talking to me about it, and you're somebody that I care deeply about, and you're telling me something that's very upsetting, I'm going to be affected negatively, not positively, negatively. So I'm going to allow you, because you want to be able to vent to me, I'm going to allow you to mess up my vibration. That's insane. I won't do it. And that's what I talk about when I talk about selfishness. So at the time, I don't know about today, but certainly at the time, she felt that I was selfish. She felt that, I should be able to listen to her vent and be able to hold space for her. And maybe I should be able to. Maybe I should be able to, but I can't. And so I won't. I won't. And if she doesn't like it, that's her problem. I can't worry about that. My emotional well-being is more important than her venting to me. Plus, from my perspective, I believe that I'm not helping her by allowing her to vent to me. I'm allowing her to take that vibration and bring it forward and keep it active as she tells me these things that upset her. So I wouldn't do it. And I still won't do it. That's what I mean by selfish. Would some people think I'm selfish? Probably. Certainly she did. In fact, I know other people that felt I was selfish. One of those people called me Hitler. She didn't say, you are Hitler. She said, you remind me of somebody, I forgot how she worded it, but basically, yeah, she called me Hitler. Because I wasn't willing to allow my vibration to be negatively impacted by listening to somebody complain. So I'm Hitler. What am I going to do? Right? She didn't like it. She doesn't have to. Nobody else has to. The only person that has to feel good is me. And if I feel good, it doesn't matter. If I feel good and somebody calls me Hitler, they're the one bent out of shape, not me. They're the one feeling bad, not me. I feel fine. That's what I mean by selfish. And I think being selfish is extraordinarily important to your well-being. With that, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you liked it, please hit the like button. Get this video out to as many people as possible. And again, if you want to get these videos or get notified of when these videos come out, by all means, click the subscribe button. I come out with a couple, 3, 4 videos a week, some more, some less, but that's the general rule of thumb. And you'll be notified as soon as the video comes out. I hope you enjoyed the video. See you next time.